And we're back. Okay, in our last video, we set up so that we could actually, or the player could actually fire a projectile, and we did, and it worked, and it fired, and it went out at a reasonable speed, and it was controlled by gravity, so it had a nice arc to it, and then it hit the target when it hit the target, and just bounced off. The target just laughed at it. So, as promised, in this video, we're going to deal with that so that when the projectile hits the target, both the projectile and the target go away. So a little bit of code that's required here. Actually, it turns out to be not quite as cryptic as the one from the last video, but a couple things worth learning here. So let's just get to that. So the first thing we need to do is create a script. So create JavaScript. We're going to name this one Kablooey. So you can name it something else if that's a little too silly for you. And we're going to double click on it to open it. And now we do have two scripts here, so we got to make sure we're on the right one, which we are. And this is not going to be an update because we only want this to happen when we have a collision. So we're going to call this onTriggerEnter. Trigger is something that we can set up so that when a collision happens, it causes a trigger to be invoked. So we're going to have a parameter which is other, and the type is collider. So the other object that it, whatever it is that we attach this to, hits is got to be a collider. And we want two things to happen. Destroy, probably doesn't take much explanation to see what that means. And game object, which means the game object that we attach this script to is going to be destroyed when we have this collision. And also we're going to destroy the other object. So that's other.gameObject. So the two objects are going to be destroyed. So this can be attached either then to the target or to the projectile. Projectile probably makes more sense. We're going to save it. Looks good. Close. And then come down here and we'll attach our Kablooey script by we'll drag it down to our bullet, which is our projectile. There it is. Click on it. There's our Kablooey script. Looks good. Okay, we're almost there. The only thing is that the target doesn't know that it's supposed to be part of this deal. So we click on the target, come up here to Collider, and check is trigger. So that way it knows that this trigger will happen when the projectile hits the collider. Now, one other thing here is this radius. Now, I don't know if you remember back when we were looking at what these colliders were, but the collider for a cylinder was actually a capsule. Collider for the sphere was a sphere, but that means that the actual collision object that's sort of shadow to any other object is not necessarily exactly the same shape as that object, especially when you have a cylinder, which is what the target frame is. So we're going to make this radius a little bit larger so that we have a little better chance of a collision happening. We still have the chance of hitting the target right on the very edge and having a collision, but not really not making the trigger actually be triggered. So you can play with this. You don't want this radius to be too big, because then when you have a near miss of a target, it'll still destroy the target. So you've got to be kind of careful with this and fine tune it, and we'll set it up, and we'll probably find that we're a little one way or the other, and I'll probably leave it, but you can come in, and if you want to spend all the time in the world getting this dialed in to just how you want it. So that's that. I'm just upping it from 0.5 to 0.6. And so now our target is happy, and we did that in the prefab, so we'll save our project, and looks good. Everything looks there. Now I'm going to take the gun barrel and I'm going to remove the collider from it, because the last thing in the world we want is for the gun to go away when it just happens to intersect with a projectile. Probably just being cautious there, but you know, never hurts. So that's that. We're all set up. All that's left to do is to test it, which we're going to do in the next video.